Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Technical Session 3D. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, I welcome you all to the 7th International Congress on Information and Communication Technology through Zoom. We are very thankful to you all for having on this platform to go along with us digitally for the conference in these unpredictable times. We hope you will enjoy the 2 days of this conference and make more productive. Also, there is a note for the presenters. You will be given 10 to 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for question and answers. So be aware of the time as we have technical sessions going on parallelly. On 10 minutes, I will give a reminder check. So I would also like to introduce our session chair, Professor D. Pascalis, Francisco D. Pascalis. He is a senior lecturer in financial law at Brunel University, London. Prior to joining Brunel, he worked as a researcher at the chair for banking and finance law, held by Professor Kern Alexander at the University of Zurich, where he contributed to research and teaching activities in the field of corporate law, banking law, and international finance law. Thank you so much for your presence, sir. I welcome you here. So I will begin with the first presentation. Do we have first presenter Amber Kimberlin?
Yes, I'm here.
So you would be presenting your paper on just a minute. A comprehensive virtual classroom dashboard.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for your contribution. Yes, you can start sharing your screen, please.
Okay. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, I can see your screen and you're audible as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hello, my name is Amber and my co-author is Dr. Sampson. I will be presenting today on a virtual classroom dashboard. This is a general overview of the topics I will be covering today, starting with the introduction. Education is at the forefront of developing the tools individuals need to succeed in their careers, whether in a classroom or online. The United Nations University found that by April 24th, 2020, education institutions in approximately 180 countries were closed, affecting 85% of the world's students' population and causing nearly 1.5 billion students to stay out of the classroom. COVID-19 has caused a strain on the educational industry and has forced many institutions to turn to online learning. E-learning is not a new concept and has been around for many years. E-learning or electronic learning is education through electronic devices and digital media. One of the leading tools in online learning is learning management systems or LMS. An LMS is a software platform for tracking online courses or programs. The core of online or hybrid learning is utilizing the web-based tools given within an LMS. Learning management systems can offer a great diversity of pathways, and for its users, it provides a framework so that they can promote knowledge distribution and exchanging information between learners in a course, allow teachers to spread information to learners, generate learning materials, make tests and assignments, take on discussions, operate distant classes, and permit cooperative learning with forums, chats, file storage areas, new services, etc. Bloom's taxonomy is how we can define and distinguish the levels of educational learning through the human intellectual brain with models. This ideology is used for guidance, learning that begins with education, prepping work for students, and ends with homework-driven tasks for students to complete. Tools to help learning management systems users include tracking the students' learning, providing areas for discussion, and most importantly, providing a space that has high accessibility and is user-friendly. A study was conducted by several students in Australia looking for the connection between learning management systems and positive outcomes. The more students use and interact with the learning management system platform, the more they can be engaged with the materials and be more satisfied. How do we improve performance benefits for students and understand their needs? By using easy and efficient analysis tools for teachers and researchers, learning analytics allows an improvement in the quality of student performance. Analyzing tools are one of the most efficient ways to get more accurate and direct results. With analytics, we can improve how students learn and how the teachers present the information for different types of learners. Accessibility is an essential part of any application. The reason that accessibility is so important is that there are a variety of disabilities or styles of learning. One second. Sorry, technical difficulties with there we go. Learning management systems have been around for several years. Each type of system contains some unique and similar sets of features. With new technology developments comes changes to the educational system more technologically. In 2020, the world was hit with COVID-19, leaving institutions with no choice but to turn to online learning. Having multiple tools and platforms can prove to be difficult, especially at lower levels of education. So why can't all these tools be all in one? I mean, this is currently used by many companies such as Google or Moodle, but there's a need for uniform all-in-one easy-to-use platform where teachers can provide video chat, communication, material submissions, assessments, and highly interactive platforms. The best online learning combines elements where students go at their own pace on their own time and are set up to think deeply and critically about the subject matter, combined with the elements where students go online at the same time and interact with other students, their teacher, and content. It is especially important to include high accessibility for those who have special circumstances such as vision, hearing, and learning impairments. This project is called Virtual Classroom Dashboard, or VCD. It is a free web-based application that contains 3 types of users: students, educators, and administrators. VCD currently contains discussion boards and content management. Educators need one application to provide for their students, and students need a single place for all their materials for a given class. Creating an application that benefits the teachers and students is about bridging the gap between communication and defining a diverse learning environment. From 2021 to 2024, the learning management system market is expected to expand to $25.4 billion at a compound annual growth rate of 23.8%. Learning management systems are becoming very important and continue to be essential in the growth of the educational industry. Schools are not the only ones who are invested in this. Companies are as well. The system security architecture diagram displays the interactions between user and applications on the left. The application gains user input or action that is then checked by the server and either returns a security or error response or processed by the MVC architecture with the result of that action or input. So my method for creating this application revolved around the software development life cycle, starting with phase 1, planning, research, and the proposal, analysis, defining the requirements and user needs, design, create diagrams and charts that describe the user flow, database structure, and design of the website. Phase 2 is build, implementing phase 1 into actual code, and testing, create testing phases for the website. At phase 3, deploy the web application to Azure and maintaining the application. Then phase 4, documenting and demonstrating. So on the left, or diagram 1, is the concept of operations diagrams that shows the actions the user can take depending on their authorization. For example, administrators can access the website, log in, and manage their users, which then gets saved to the Azure database. On the top right, or diagram 2, is a sitemap, which displays the current web pages within the website, starting with the index or homepage, where any type of user can access the login, register, contact, and documentation page. Then when a user logs in, depending on their authentication, they can access only their permitted pages. Diagram 3, the sample educator interface, displays all the content a teacher has access to provide materials and given lessons. So the performance of the website displayed a low of 96 and a high of 100%. The diagram displays below the web applications percentage of failure for accessibility tools in comparison to other industries. With the results, we could see that there's much need for improvement, especially with accessibility. The usability, security, and functionality of the website was tested by multiple people and showed that the website displayed a high usability, was missing authentication so far, and the contact page was non-functional. So the future of virtual classroom dashboard is limitless because there are so many features that can be added to not only improve the learning environment, but also the interface itself by implementing Zoom or other virtual communications embedded within the application, a grading system including automation and manual grading, access to exams and quizzes, plagiarism tools, cheating tools, access to assessments, interactive learning tools, authentication with user personal email accounts or their school accounts, the implementation of AI and machine learning to help gear academics to personal user needs, more tools to ensure that the teacher or students do not need outside applications to aid them in their courses, as well as a setting menu to include contrasting interfaces, different font sizes, text to speech, or speech to text, which is geared more towards accessibility. Learning management systems are the future of education, and having a software or application that is flexible and heavily geared towards its users is eminent. COVID-19 has shown us how providing flexibility in our education can help connect each other no matter where we are in the world and provide a more diverse learning environments. Learning management systems can help extend the learning process beyond the physical classroom. This project was to show how it is possible to provide understanding into learning management systems, provide key features and a user-driven product, and most importantly, provide a system that can be easily manipulated so it can be upgraded with ease. Online learning has the potential to be more inclusive for disabilities, different learning styles, and different teaching styles as well. Having a virtual learning platform in the form of a learning management system can help aid students with disabilities by providing the high contrasting elements, text to speech, speech to text, and a variety of other tools that are accessible. If all these elements of learning are in one platform, that would reduce the need for more applications and provide students with lower capacity computing devices to be able to use the application. Virtual Classroom Dashboard was developed to have a high accessibility and modifiability. This application has the potential to grow and be easily manipulated by future developers. It still has a long way to go as it is currently a basic learning management system with minimal features, but the goal of this project was to create an all-inclusive learning management system that can be used by any type of user and to inform people on the benefits of utilizing a learning management system. And with more time and research and developers, this application can grow and reach its intended goal of becoming a diverse, interactive, and accessible learning environment for its users. Thank you. Any questions?
I was wondering if you did an exploration of how it works for the youngest readers, like kindergarteners or preschool age, where the users are not yet able to read.
I have not, but the intended purpose in the future is to include more research with users, especially the younger generations.
Any more questions?
Could you please expand a little bit more when you mentioned for the future these cheating tools? Because we have this idea of cheating mostly related to plagiarism, and from plagiarism we talk about collusion, but I would be interested in knowing in relation to these cheating tools that were mentioned in one of the slides.
So with my experience with learning management systems, especially when I was in my master's program, they used a tool for assessments where it only allowed you to stay on your testing page and you couldn't have any other windows open or access anything else but the test itself. So it prevented you from accessing anything outside of that. As for the name of that application, I can't remember at the moment, but it's generally embedded with, I believe, one of the Canvas learning management systems. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amber. We move on to the next presentation.
That would be me.
Yeah, Samar Saleha, you would be presenting a paper on a survey on counterfeits and the information and communications technology supply chain.
Yes, let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my
Yes,
screen now?
I can. Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Today, we're going to present our paper, A Survey on Counterfeits in the Information and Communication Technology. The authors are myself, Samar Saleh, Rong Lei, Wee-Hong Grace Gu, and El Sayed from the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering at Rutgers University. To present our paper, first we'll give a brief introduction about the topic and describe the literature survey method that we adopt to perform this survey. Briefly go over the analysis that we did for the collected literature and our conclusion. So first, SAE Internationals provide a comprehensive definition about counterfeit as a fraudulent part that has been confirmed to be a copy, imitation, or substitute that has been represented, identified, or marked as genuine and or altered by a source without the legal right, with the intent to mislead, deceive, or defraud. And we can see in the pictures, counterfeiters target expensive brands, microprocessors, and other electronic parts, medications, and even bulbs. Counterfeits are a real global threat, especially to the economy, where companies lost sales or even shut down because of bad reputation due to counterfeits. This loss was estimated to be around $323 billion in 2018. People's safety is also threatened, and we have witnessed several incidents that cause injuries or death. The overall security is also affected when counterfeits penetrate certain specific supply chains, such as the defense supply chain or communication supply chain. Further, counterfeits have become the interest of a significant proportion of investments and innovations globally. So a significant amount of funds and intellectual efforts are dedicated to counterfeits-related problems instead of innovation. Counterfeits have been a major threat for ICT supply chain, and it's increasing due to the production shift to less law-enforcing countries, increase in online shopping, and the fact that counterfeiters' techniques are becoming more sophisticated and developed. ICT supply chain is affected by counterfeit threats, and it plays the major role as a defendant against counterfeits. In addressing this problem, a significant number of detection techniques, mitigation strategies, policies, and campaigns have been made, where ICT supply chain was the major party. In the vast literature available focusing on counterfeits in supply chains, we attempt to gather, connect, and analyze the work done in the intersection area of ICT, supply chains, and counterfeits to set forth an inclusive reference for future studies and enhancements in this field. To do so, we first identified all the literature that has the keywords supply chain and counterfeit in Scopus database, which is a huge database. Then we identified the relevant literature using keywords co-occurrence network and citation network. We grouped related literature and added additional ones from experts who has who did a good job in counterfeiting. Then we analyzed the collected literature and conclude. Using the keywords supply chain and counterfeits, we obtained more than 900 articles from Scopus. To analyze this big number, we developed a keywords co-occurrence network in VOS Viewer, which revealed a specific theme or trend in research. According to the size color, and intersections of the circles, we identified 4 interconnected research areas. As shown in the network, we can see here a big cluster of research focusing on counterfeits in medical and pharmaceutical supply chain. Another cluster of research focusing on counterfeits in electronic and ICT supply chain. Few research focusing on counterfeits in food supply chain, and others focusing on anti-counterfeiting technologies. We also built a citation network analysis that reveals the interconnected literature in the center and the isolated literature in gray. Interconnected literature is defined as papers that add value to the study topic, which were given the highest importance in our analysis. Because the size of the nodes illustrates the number of citations of the paper, for this reason, the isolated literature with big size nodes are given the next importance. Further, additional papers, as we said before, selected by experts with elaborate research work on counterfeiting are incorporated into our survey. A closer look into the interconnected network shows the same trend that we obtained when performing the keyword co-occurrence network. Here at the center, we can see literature focusing on anti-counterfeiting techniques and approaches. These are research focusing on counterfeits in ICT supply chain. These are focusing on counterfeits in medical and pharmaceutical supply chain, and these are the literature found in about counterfeits in food supply chain. So these are the 4 studied areas that we focused, and we divided all the literature we obtained into these 4 clusters. First one is the detection and avoidance techniques of counterfeits in the ICT supply chain. The second is the role that ICT plays in thwarting counterfeits in medical and pharmaceutical supply chain, then in the food supply chain, and finally the ICT related anti-counterfeiting technologies and approaches. So first, starting with the counterfeits in information and communication technology supply chains, the increasing concern about counterfeit parts, especially in the ICT supply chain, led some governmental agencies and private companies and organizations to report counterfeits and suspicious suppliers. Indeed, their attempt to cooperate to reduce or eliminate counterfeit threats led to the formation of the Government Industry Data Exchange Program, GIDEP, by sharing technical information and report any counterfeit products. Likewise, Electronic Resellers Association International, ERAI, was founded in 1985 as a major resource for checking if a component is counterfeit. ERAI is the world's largest database of suspect counterfeit and non-conforming electronic parts. Such associations constitute the first defense barrier to check for counterfeit parts or components. Some researchers also lay out a modeling framework to understand the counterfeiting problems based on the environment of the supply chain, the flow, and other factors. The major part of literature about counterfeits in ICT supply chain focus on the detection techniques. A huge number of methods exist to test parts' authenticity that vary in their efficiency and cost. Many researchers explain these tests, and some propose low-cost tests and highly accurate methods to detect counterfeit ICs, for example, by using ring oscillator. In addition to adopting proactive techniques like hardware metering, fingerprinting, and watermarking, algorithms are also suggested that enables choosing the optimum detection method and considering test time, cost, and application risks. To improve the accuracy of the detection techniques, they used data analytics and machine learning and artificial intelligence. Experimental results of research show 99% accuracy of the proposed methods. The most common avoidance techniques for counterfeits in ICT supply chain proposed are secure split test and physically unclonable function. The other major concern of research is traceability via blockchain and traceability using RFID. The other major concern of research is concerning an appropriate level of traceability must be implemented based on risk prioritization, because the cost of implementing traceability at a wide range might outweigh its benefits. The second cluster of literature shows a closer look at the research focusing on ICT-related anti-counterfeiting approaches themselves, regardless of the type of product or supply chain. All available technologies to combat counterfeits can be categorized into two types. First is the product authentication and verification. The other type is product tracking and tracing. Product authentication includes testing using ICT technologies such as X-ray testing and microscopic exam. Then digital watermarking is a growing approach as well to defend against counterfeiting. And it's being used in cosmetic and personal care products, pharmaceuticals, digital manufacturing, and others. RFIDs are suggested as one of the most suitable solutions to track items in the supply chain, especially with the decline in their cost lately in the past few years, and their capability to integrate with mobile technologies to obtain a self-validated location-based authentication system. Using a quick response QR code linked to blockchain databases, primarily used in manufacturing, is a method incorporated now in avoiding counterfeit products. Some researchers promote physically unclonable function instead of RID, which is susceptible to cloning, and using origin stamp system that can aggregate events, reducing by that the number of transactions instead of logging each event on the blockchain individually. The loss of legitimate pharmaceutical industry caused by counterfeiting is estimated to be between $38 billion and $160 billion in the US, not mentioning the threat to human lives. In addition to strict laws and international surveillance and the role of international institutions to protect the pharmaceutical industry and people's lives, ICT plays an important role in increasing pharmaceutical governance, such as the Counterfeit Detection Device 3, CD3, developed by the US Food and Drug Administration, FDA, that scans drugs and compare them to authentic ones and also identify tampered packaging. Next, we have mobile authentication services, MAS, as consumer verification techniques. Scientists also offer a low-cost MAS techniques for low-income countries. Other research focus on low and middle-income countries and propose promising prototypes of low-cost detection methods equipped with ultraviolet radiation detectors, for instance. Some research propose models that can predict counterfeit medication incidents. RFID remains the first player in this cluster of literature as well, beside blockchain technology that increase visibility and traceability and control counterfeit medications. Smart contracts, near-field communication technologies, and Internet of Things, along with blockchain across healthcare supply chain processes, allow better management for recalls, expiration, shortage, and counterfeits. Studies modeling the impact of implementing technology to control and avoid counterfeits in medical and pharmaceutical supply chain show around 40% reduction in the economic impact and the number of deaths. Food supply chains is also susceptible to counterfeiting. Perishable food and wine are the main interests of research. The progress in combating counterfeiting in the food industry is weak as compared to the other sectors, since the cost of implementing critical countermeasures is significantly high compared to the product price. Blockchain, Internet of Things, and smart packaging are the major methods studied to thwart counterfeit in the food supply chain. In conclusion, we found that significant research work was done in the intersection of ICT, supply chain, and counterfeits that can be clustered into four main groups, and that we use to provide a reference about the global efforts done to address counterfeits in the ICT supply chain and the role ICT plays in thwarting counterfeits in other supply chains. It's clear how RFID and blockchains are the trend in anti-counterfeiting. However, there's still no one solution that fits all counterfeit threats. A customized plan is required in addition to global efforts. Finally, we would like to thank Professor Fred Roberts for his support and CAOE for their funding. Thank you. You have any questions?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I would like to ask whether within these clusters of research and literature, there can be maybe a room for cross-jurisdictional analysis in the sense of identifying maybe some countries that are pioneering maybe an approach which can be taken as a model for solving this issue.
Like for countries, because there's no one solution that fits all the problems, we couldn't find like any model that the perfect model that can solve counterfeit problem either in ICT supply chain or in any other supply chain. There are like some good practices that were done, something that we can learn to set future plans, but there's no one perfect model for it.
Thank you.
Would that help?
Thank you so much.
Stop sharing.
So we'll move on with the next presentation, that is by Veli Salva. She will be presenting on universal networking language approach to machine translation between Bulgarian and Slovak language. You hear?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please start sharing your screen.
May I share my screen?
Yes, please.
My
Yes, I
talk
can see
is
yours.
about the universal networking language approach to machine translation between Slovak and Bulgarian language. The outline of the talk, we just present the analysis of approaches used to develop lexical database in universal networking language frameworks for presenting Bulgarian and Slovak language for machine translation. The idea is to use a specific combination of grammar knowledge as well as lexical-semantic relations representation techniques to model lexical information representation scheme for related languages, because the Bulgarian language and Slovak language belong to the group of Slavonic languages, and they are related languages. The formal representation is outlined with respect to its multilingual or more universal application. We hope that our approach can be useful for some other type of languages. Actually, the lexical information representation approaches have been introduced in natural language processing in order to improve the poor grammar performance. According to the Chomsky's tradition, mostly syntactic representation were presented, and less stress was put on the lexical information. That is when our approach is more lexically oriented. The type of minimalist grammar also are using various approaches to present structure of that information. And finally, lexical knowledge representation languages like semantic networks are very suitable because they offer both grammar and lexical representation. The semantic networks are widely used at knowledge representation formalism. They were successfully used to represent both lexical and grammar information, and they are also with a multilingual application. We have used one previous presentation using semantic networks. It was the data language for lexical knowledge representation. And there are also WordNet and universal networking language, which we have used for our in our approach. All semantic networks offer hierarchical representation of both inflectional and conceptual knowledge by using mostly rule-based encodings. For most of them, like data, WordNet, and UNL, there are programming applications made for a lot of languages, which suggest various approaches and techniques that can be successfully used for multilingual application. Very briefly, the universal networking language approach allows the information conveyed by the natural language to be represented as a hypergraph composed of a set of directly binary labeled links to which we refer as relations, and between nodes or hypernodes, to which we refer as universal words. Relation and universal words are connected by the attributes. In fact, universal words, these are the core part of the lexicon. These are actually the UNL dictionary. The UNL dictionary consists of universal words, which are words in English, and then all related languages are attached, or actually all related translation of that word are attached to the main core English tree. Attributes are arcs which are linked node onto itself. The attributes correspond to one place predicate, and they can express the natural language grammatical information, such as tense, mood, aspect, and number. Relations are the labeled arcs connecting a node to another node, and they play a semantic role. They are semantic connection between that structure. In UNL dictionary, as I have said, the words are in English. They are hierarchically represented, and so we can present here typology, synonymy, and some other type of lexical relations. NL dictionary is a dictionary of a particular language, so that we have developed 2 NL dictionary in our representation for Bulgarian language as well as for the Slovak language. In NL dictionary, the words are included in their base form as a lemma and are connected to the UNL dictionary. UNL to NL dictionary, it's a bilingual dictionary which links lexical entries of UNL dictionary to NL dictionary, in other words, to a dictionary of a particular language, through different linking mechanisms. So the main point of our application was how to tune that linking mechanism between UNL and NL dictionary and between the dictionary of Bulgarian and the Slovak language. Actually, the UNL ontology is the basic core mechanism of UNL knowledge base. The UNL specifications, that is the most important part of the application, offer types of grammar rules, particularly designed to interpret inflectional morphology, because both Bulgarian and Slovak language are inflectional languages, and they are we have developed a lot of inflectional morphology rules. Generally, there are 2 types of rules and L rules. L rules consist of 4 types, which are affixation rules, which attach the prefixes, the suffixes, and infixes, and there are also rules of replacement. We have used all 4 types. The grammar rules process both morphological and syntactic information. They are capable to interpret the inflectional feature of both languages, like gender, number, and tense. Definiteness as well, because the definite article in Bulgarian language is an ending morpheme. The inflection can be represented also with respect to the prefixes, suffixes, infixes, etc. All that types of very complicated inflectional relations. The related grammar feature link Bulgarian lexeme to their correlate of all different languages, but especially in our application, we have linked them to the Slovak counterpart, and generally that multilingual representation to allow that approach to some other languages. In UNL offers universal language independent and open source platform system, and recently a lot of languages have been represented. Our representation is a part of the Little Prince project, which was aimed at translating the text of the book into various languages using the UNL open platform. UNL offer also various approaches for lexical knowledge presentation. Bulgarian and Slovak language lexical database are presented in UNL, both with the grammar and semantic relations. For all of them, there exists a part of speech lexical information presentation, and the structure of a lexical information present all types of that relations. Semantic relations are presented using the hierarchy. That is the main part of the dictionary. We have a lemma, we have here lemma, part of speech, lexical structure, gender, number, etc. All that characteristic of a particular word. The Bulgarian dictionary consists, that is an example of the word of the adjective good. We have a good and better. These are the Bulgarian translation. And also we have a good and nice, which are the synonyms. We have a lexical information. We have a part of speech adjective. This is a list of words. That is a paradigm number, etc. And definition of good in English, having desirable or positive value, especially, etc. The Slovak dictionary also have a similar structure, but we have here all inflected forms, and we have also the same definition, having desirable value or positive quality. And we have also the same specification through which we can link the Bulgarian part of the dictionary with the Slovak one. And we have, instead of that, lexical relations, we have a synonyms of good, which is nice, and we have an antonym, which is bad. And the same is for Slovak. We have bad and we have good and nice. The same. These are the inflected rules for Bulgarian language, which we have developed. These are the generated inflected forms because good is an adjective. It has also the comparative of degree for all the three genders. And finally, the lexical information representation scheme of for both Bulgarian and Slovak language interpret the grammar, semantic, and lexical knowledge using standard universal networking language knowledge representation scheme. And mainly they are part as a specification, through linking that specification. Additionally, the quality of the translation is maintained by the lexical relations, by using the synonym and the antonyms. So the translation equivalents must be more closer to the original word in the source language. And all they present the grammar rules and semantic relations by incorporating the grammar and lexical information. The lexical representation scheme also uses types of information included in the lexical entry, like lemma, a base form, part of speech, lexical structure, gender, number, inflectional paradigm, and also subcategorization, frame, etc. And present mostly the structural grammar knowledge. The grammar information is given by both inflectional and syntactic rules. Also, adjectives usually are specifiers in the language. The lexical semantic information is given both in English by giving the definition and the meaning of the lexemes, and presenting lexical information relation, as I have said, like synonymy and antonymy. The offered structure of lexical information is capable to give adequate representation of all related part of speech and their specific grammar feature for Bulgarian and Slovak language, and underlay a common formal framework which can be used for representation of other Slavonic languages in universal networking language framework. And finally, we have developed all that words which are included in the book Little Prince in both languages. Thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions?
Hi, I was
Can you hear
wondering,
me?
yeah, hello, my name's Carrie Segal. Thank you for your informative presentation. I was wondering if you could elaborate on why you chose a binary graph.
This is the well-established formalism, and because it was chosen by the project creators in UNL framework, there were developed a lot of languages, and also there is a platform, web-based platform, so that all teams from different parts of the world were working together on that project. There are machine translation of the book at more than 30 languages, including Arabic languages and Chinese. This was the very, UNL is a formalism which is accepted by UNESCO. This is a standard presentation scheme.
I see, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we have our next presenter.
Thank you.
Marcel Girlina. Are you here? Marcel? Marcel?
Now, do you hear me?
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening, yes.
Yes, you can start with the presentation.
Yes, I can start.
Yeah, please
Just
start sharing
now.
your screen.
Oh, good. My screen.
You aren't ready. We have our presenter here.
Yes,
Ahmad.
yes, now it is here.
Ahmad Saibuk.
Do you see that?
No.
No?
Ahmad is here. Ahmad. Ahmad. Yes, I can see your screen, but I think this is not the first slide.
Well, so you see my screen, yes?
I
Oh, no.
just saw your screen, but going to be
Yes. So my speech is about the algorithm that can,
I cannot see your screen.
you cannot see the screen.
No.
I don't think. This one?
No.
Now?
Yes, I can see your screen. Please start.
Yes. So the problem is whether sorting, whether real numbers, it is real keys, it's possible to sort in a linear time. The answer is rather simple. Yes, it is possible. And there is algorithm shortly that uses, in fact, the so-called counting sort. It means that it uses n cells, it is n is number of items sorted. These cells, if the cell is occupied, the next cell is used, and this has impact on that fact that appear unsorted groups of numbers. And these groups may contain numbers very close one to another, so the comparison sort must be used. it is possible to prove that the time complexity of these algorithms is linear. It is proportional to number of items sorted, under assumption that the contents of each bin, it is of the histogram of this data, has the so that the theorem below holds, and the algorithm has complexity proportional to number of items sorted. This assumption is not apparent at the first sight, so another criterion is searched for. We introduce the notion multiplicity. It is the number of items in an unsorted group. And it appears that even for a rather very large number of items sorted, it may exist only very small unsorted groups. Groups of size does not exceed 20 for a reasonable data set size. It means until so. Now, suppose that the sorting key has unimodal probability distribution with some modus, and that we approximate this distribution by normal distribution, and there is some bin width, and relation is such that the standard deviation of this approximating normal distribution should be larger below. It is approximately proportional to bin width and inversely proportional to number of bound to number of items in the unsorted group. It appears in numerical that in this table this ratio standard deviation to mean and standard deviation to bin width are rather small numbers, so it follows that the distribution has a rather large peak and a very narrow peak, and so this distribution is extremely narrow and extremely not probable to appear in practice. So we can say that approximately nearly no practical data violated the rule to be sorted in a linear time. We can show that here are graphs, three graphs for three distribution of these real numbers, and because the runtime is a function of number of items sorted, so we use as measure the number of nanoseconds needed to sort one item. In the cadence appears as constant approximately, and in these graphs the lowest lines for the algorithm presented here, and the upper line is for quicksort, and also is there a exactly straight line demonstrating the theoretical relation n times logarithm of n. It is theoretical line for the quicksort. So, basis of the algorithm is rather simple. Use the counting sort as much as possible. Appears some group of unsorted items. Then these groups are rather small and can be sorted with comparison sort. Even that, this complexity, time complexity of these algorithms can be bounded by the linear function of numbers of sort 8. So the complexity of this algorithm is linear. And for this linear dependency is the distribution must be extremely narrow, and in practice nearly nowhere appears. So in short, it was all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation, Marcel. Any questions? All right, so we'll move further. So we have our next presenter, Ahmed, with us. Who would be presenting a paper on towards an agile and transformational government through the development of the Tangerine Life application. Ahmed, can you hear me? Ahmed?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes, please start sharing your screen.
Yes. You can see my screen. To shorten the time, I will start the presentation of my paper. The title, Toward an Agile and Transformational Government Through the Development of the Tangerang Life Application, Case Study of Tangerang City in Indonesia.
Please take care of the time here.
In introduction, entering the era of information technology in transformation, a government with ICT skill is needed to convey messages to the public. The government is encouraged to implement organizational management agile to realize good governance. The Tangerang City government carries out the application of ICT by making an application called Tangerang Life. This is one form of innovation carried out by the Tangerang City government in realizing agile governance. Tangerang Life is an application portal created by the Tangerang City government to support various services needed by the community. The study aims to find out how the Tangerang City government apply principles of agile governance through the Tangerang Life application as a form of service the community. This part, literature review, the study used 3 principles of agile governance proposed by Luna, Crucian, and Mora in 2015 in a study entitled Agile Governance Theory, Conceptual Development, including 1 based on quick wins, 2 systematic and adaptive approach, and 3 simple design and continuous improvement. Next, method. This research is qualitative research with a descriptive analysis approach that explains a clear picture of the application of agile governance principles in application made by the Tangerang City government. Research analysis the data using the Tangerang Life application found on the Google Play Store for smartphone Android. The data collection technique in this study is in accordance with the proposed by Silalahi 2017 which was carried out through searching secondary data obtained from books, articles, news, comments, government publication or application, and journals. Next, result and discussion. The first picture describes the appearance on the homepage of the Tangerang Live application. There are various features and information about Tangerang City which are a source of information for the public. And the second picture describes the increase in the number of Tangerang Live application downloaders in 2021. In January, as much as 525,197. In February is 540,960, and March, which reached 546,111 downloads. And next, based on quick wins, the picture 3 explain to adding application features to health and economic service. There are several features added to the Tangerang Live application, such as in the health service sector by adding the COVID-19 info feature and vaccine in the Tangerang City area. In addition, there is the Tangerang Portal feature in the economic sector, which aims to meet shopping needs with a COD or cash on delivery payment process. Next, systematic and adaptive approach. Several complaints often appear in the comment column on the Play Store for user of Android. Among the are complaints about the verification process, which take quite a long time to respond to when registering. And next, simple design and continuous refinement. Picture 5 explain to display of COVID-19 information in Tangerang City. In terms of appearance, the Tangerang Live application is considered simple and easy to understand by the public. A design that is not boring can provide comfort for application users. In addition, the COVID-19 information on the Tangerang Live application provides the latest data presentation and continues to be updated every day. And the last conclusion, this research shows that the Tangerang Live application already embodies several principles of agile governance. The first, based on quick wins, namely the Tangerang City government continues to add new features by looking at the latest problem felt by the community. Addition in the form of health service feature and also economical service. And the second, the principle of simple design and continuous refinement is to apply a simple and attractive approach to application and information data update every day, such as information on COVID-19 in Tangerang City. However, there are still shortcomings that need to be improved on the application, as in the third principle, namely the systematic and adaptive approach. There are many user complaints regarding the verification process, which take a long time to respond after registering on the application. Thank you for the time given. I will return to the moderator.
Thank you for giving me opportunity to present my research about utilization of the Jaki application in realizing smart living in the COVID-19 pandemic era. Case study of DKI Jakarta government in Indonesia. Introduction. The COVID pandemic has been worrying about its rapid spread, so the government must take a right strategic approach in dealing with it. The era of digitalization is very much needed by the government, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, to provide service to the community and break the chain of the spread of COVID-19 through applications that are fast and responsive to any problem that occurs in the community. The development and utilization of application is COVID. In COVID-19 risk management have been carried out by the Jakarta Capital Special Region Government, namely the Jaki application. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the people of DKI Jakarta experienced difficulties in obtaining effective public service, individual comfort, difficulty in obtaining health service related to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the learning process was not optimal during the COVID-19 pandemic. The use of the Jaki application is expected to facilitate effective public service in the pandemic era, profit comfort activities obtain easy health service, profit maximum access to learning for the people of DKI Jakarta in COVID-19 pandemic era. Next, literature review. When the COVID-19 attack occurred at the DKI Jakarta, government immediately developed a service strategy from artificial intelligence from the Jaki application or Jakarta Kini, which meet the needs of the people of the DKI Jakarta during the pandemic, with the aim of making it easier to service the community in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic with complete features according to needs, especially digital service in all fields that are closely related to the benefit of the people of Jakarta, starting from the education, health, economy, government, and other COVID-19 service. In smart living, various indicators can be seen that drive the realization of the smart city. In this study, the research went to look at various smart living indicator in the implementation of the Jaki application in dealing with COVID-19. Smart living, individual comfort, health service, and smart living indicator, individual comfort, health service, decent housing service, education service. Smart living is the trend where technology is applied in everyday life to increase efficiency, affordability, and sustainability. The principle of smart living is that technology must be used to advance human needs and improve the quality of life with the power of human creativity while pressing with the improvement for future generation. Thus, smart living must be adapted to provide humans with complete information to control the individuals' personal environment in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic. Based on the smart living indicator above, it shows that to realize a smart city, it must meet several indicators, namely smart living. Methodology. This study focuses on seeing the improvements of the Jaki application in facilitating and being able to meet the service needs of the people of DKI Jakarta during the COVID-19 pandemic. Research in conducting research using a descriptive qualitative approach. Research analyzes the data using the website jaki.jakarta.go.id and the Jaki application. In addition, the analysis text is presented descriptively in the application finding of the Jaki application version that is role in reducing smart living in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic. Discussion. 4.1. The usefulness of the Jaki application in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to the current day of COVID-19 in Indonesia, especially in DKI Jakarta, the DKI Jakarta government immediately utilizes information and communication technology by using the application-based and website-based Jaki service model. Which play an important role in healthy COVID-19 in the Jakarta. Videos for using the Jaki application were prepared by the DKI Jakarta government so that it could be easily accessed by all levels of society responding because a very common government report respondent infidelity with horse that it can have inefficient impact on the people of DKI Jakarta. Based on the table above is small part to severe features that are input by research in seeing the responsibility related to problems that occur in the community. The Jaki application has emerged as an alternative that can facilitate various aspects of daily life, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. During the COVID pandemic, the Jakarta application played a role in replacing face-to-face administrative interaction with service through digital service user in all fields were familiar with people Jakarta, ranging from education, health, economy, government, and other service sector. Table 1 service response from the Jaki application education housing. TPN service Jack Siaga, Jack Aman, Jack Sekolah, Jack Ispu, Jack Lapor, and Jack Respond. Based on table 1 above, I can mention that the feature of the Jaki application are very helpful community in getting service according to the level of achievement of the smart living indicator, such as the occurrence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Face-to-face as in the learning process were to remove in order to be able to break the chain of the spread of the COVID-19 virus. The strategy taken by the DKI Jakarta government was to carry out the teaching and learning process from home in accordance with the introduction of the Minister of Education of the Republic Indonesia. In DKI Jakarta, the learning process can be carried out very easily because there is already a Jack Sekolah of or featured Jakarta School. The Jaki application provide features that make it easier for students in their learning process during the pandemic, so that there are no more obstacles for students to go to school and study from home, because one of the feature in the Jaki application is the Jack Sekolah or Jack Sekolah, able to provide learning material students from kindergarten to high school, and also available to the public, so as present employees and studying students. Design place to life that avoid the spread of COVID-19 the Jaki application profit data on strict control zone in number of neighborhood units of by COVID in Jakarta, so that people can avoid zona that are designated with high virus spread. And in the Jaki application, there is also the zoning feature which serves a security status detector in the vicinity. Meanwhile, individual service in the Jakarta application profit convert in the public store complete for sort the lapor, which for vacation to report for virus problem related to PPKM population in Jakarta, so that authorities can follow up. The Jaki application also profit the Jaksiaga which to profit important number emergency situation such as call center for brigade, ambulance, police, and order. In addition to Jaksiaga the Jaki application also profit access to Jekaman or Jekaman service which is used for the operating system in Jaki based on geotagging and the integrated first response. Hazard situation can be reported throughout virus, the category available as accident, medical emergency, and criminal. The Jaki application also profit produce of the present our population standard index or is ESPU and is directed with the breakdown and sensor of the Jaki Jakarta Environment Agency, located in municipalities. Resident can directly monitor equality according to their location of the expo. Figure for corona lectometric. The corona lectometric independent risk COVID-19 system of opposite the spread of COVID-19 in the Jakarta province with machine learning technology and the intervention of the corona lectometric. People can check for symptoms similar to COVID from home high occurrence with mechanical learning based technology. The result of this system.
Dear presenter, please conclude. Just have
Yes.
a minute left. Yeah, please conclude.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. So I sincerely thank all my presenters for their excellent contribution and presentation in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. All the presenters would be getting the certificates within 2 working days. The publication will be live within 5 to 6 months. I also thank my session chair, just a minute, Francisco Di Pascalis for your chairing the session, sir. Thank you so much. A token of appreciation from my side to you. Thank you so much, sir. So I would like to all request the participants to on the camera for a quick snapshot, please. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.